You welcome to Newspaper Review this morning. My name is Ijoma Uche, and I'd like to thank you for joining us. It is Good Morning Anambra Tuesday edition. And now we're going to look at what the papers are saying, but first of all, we'll get to the ABS website to bring you the stories that are making the rounds there. Welcome. All right, welcome back. Joining me this morning to look at what the papers are saying. Mr. Tony Wakile is a public affairs analyst. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to meet.
Okay. And then Professor Obiajulu Obikeze, public affairs analyst too. Prof, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
It's my pleasure.
Welcome. Okay. From our website this morning, we'll have the first story. Soludo receives more recommendations for setting up Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Committee. Agamba resumes duty as Anambra Youth Development Commissioner, Tax Ministry staff on dedication to duty. Now watch Anambra State condemns death of gospel artist Osinachi Nwachukwu over domestic violence. And finally from here, Anambra Commissioner for Lands Amuchaze promises improved service delivery. These and many more are the stories that you get from our website this morning, www.absradiotv.com. Okay, Saludo receives more recommendations for setting up Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Committee. This is what the news that broke last week, whereby the governor said this committee to look at some of these injustices, then bring reconciliation to where needed in this state, at least for us to have a very peaceful state, and then move on. Let me start with you, Professor Obi Keze. How did you see that committee?
The governor, Professor Soludo, is a very articulate person. I believe the commission or the committee was a very thought out project and program, and there's nothing you can achieve without peace. And I believe he had this notion. He has been here, unlike people who start outside and later come back to join us. He has been here with us, and he knew and knows the situation on the ground. So we thank him very much for setting up the committee. But one thing is very, very primary. That is the need for educating and the education of our people. Many people may not know the essence of that committee. So there's every need that we mount some education processes and programs that we try to educate and inform and galvanize our people so that they'll be able to join in this process of peace and reconciliation. Without peace, as I said, we cannot go far, and his administration will not achieve much.
I know. And just like he started doing, giving a leave branch to especially those of our children that are giving problems, those of them that are staying in the bushes, asking them to come out. And they receive amnesty, or better still, be considered a criminal. How do you see that one?
That's a step in the right direction, because one thing, like Prof said, is enlightening the people. Let them know that staying in the bush, fighting or committing arson, murder and all those other crimes will not bring any solution to the problem of the Igbos. The issue of IPOB and all are fine. People have the right to ask for their rights, but it should be done correctly. And besides the issue of Biafra, for those of us who saw it, there was war for 3 good years. I remember 1967 to about January 5th or thereabout 1970. And we saw what happened. And so if it were to have been done through the guns, I believe that 3 years would have been enough to do that. So the important thing right now is to articulate a position and begin to follow it up.
Okay.
Even if it means at international levels, fine. The world is watching.
Okay, thank you very much. Now watch, Anambra State condemns death of gospel artist Osinachi Nwachukwu over domestic violence. And I think it was last Friday that we saw that one, the death of this gospel artist Osinachi. Initially we heard it was a cancer of the throat. And later the news broke that it was, she died out of domestic violence or maltreatment from her husband. And I don't know, so many people, and even internationally, has joined in the call for men to stop killing their wives.
Well, I think it's a very pathetic situation. It's also something that we should not encourage in any way. But stories are not yet clear on what killed the woman, but the major understanding, is that she died out of domestic violence. And if that is the case, it's too bad. It's not encouraging for men to beat their wives. If for any reason you are tired of staying with any woman, you ask the person to go. We have to think, supposing this is my daughter, supposing it's my mother, suppose it's my
your sister,
my sister, nephew or whatever. I don't think, nieces and the rest of them, I don't think it's proper for any reason for one to beat a person's wife. It's not encouraging, and we have nothing than to say the family should take care and let proper investigation be done. And if for any reason the man is culpable, he should be brought to book so that we teach others some lessons.
I was actually going to ask Mr. Nwakile what he thinks could be the punishment of this man if eventually it's discovered that he brutalized his wife to death. And not just him, every other man that is doing the same thing.
Number one is a primitive act to start beating any woman or lady. That is obvious. There are part of a reasonable proportion of the woman's power lies in her mouth. And in fact, if you are intelligent, when she's talking, you pick the ones you want to use to work with. You don't even need to start challenging her, and you don't need to go into competition with her because there's no point in backing on a competition you know you are going to lose. Before you finish saying one or two things, you have said about 20. So there's no need. You just listen, and in fact, if you lack ideas and you don't even want to ask, you just do something that will make her talk. Then when she talks, you pick the things, the information you need to work with. So number one is a primitive act and should be discouraged. And then the law should take its appropriate course. Again, the consideration has to be done in respect of the children. Because they are now talking that if certain levels of punishment are applied, you now discover that the children have automatically become orphans. So that's another aspect to it. And I'm sure that if the woman is asked in the spirit whether she wants her children to be totally orphans, she's not likely going to say yes.
Okay.
And this, I think it's also necessary to point out that religious organizations should mount programs on how to continue to sermonize and preach to young ones who get married. That marriage is not all bed of roses. It has to be done with a lot of patience, a lot of understanding, a lot of give and take. These are people who were of different parents, brought together by circumstance. They should know that there are individual differences. And that being the case, they should understand themselves and then chat and then discuss issues as they come up. And that's part of what the society should do. If one is not mature enough to get into marriage, he should not. And not to be boxing. Some women are also not...
Is it just about maturity? I think that that's this attitude that some men put up. Maybe sometimes they say if your father beats your mother, there's possibility that you're going to beat your wife. Or any man that beats a woman, whether your sister, your friend, or anybody, will eventually be beating the wife. So it may not necessarily be out of immaturity or whatever.
Well, maturity doesn't mean that of age.
Okay.
It doesn't mean age. It doesn't mean you have to be 50 or 100 before you're mature. Maturity can start at any time, depending on the circumstance and environment we are from, where somebody grew up. So that's what we mean by being mature. By education and some enlightenment, somebody matures. It doesn't mean you have to, it doesn't count by age.
Okay. Thank you very much. One thing I took away from what you men said here is that sometimes you allow the women to talk, that they are actually talking sense. And then Mr. Makile said that you will pick some of the things that you need to work with from her, and especially when you are bereft of ideas. So that simply means that women are intelligent, even though they talk.
And they talk.
They talk intelligently.
They express themselves faster than
very expressive.
Their comfort easier. It's easier to...
Unlike men that will bottle up everything and you wouldn't even know where to start.
In the world of men, a lot of things are crowded up. But when she talks, you can now pick the ones that maybe you are still thinking about.
I see. Thank you very much. Let's now look at the papers, please. The first paper this morning is the National Star. National Star is our first paper this morning. And the banner headline there said, "Sit at home, Anambra records partial compliance." And then hoodlums key 2 in Enugu. I don't know what we're going to do with this killings all over. Especially down here that we are not known for, killing ourselves, spilling bloods anyhow. Okay, the next paper to that one would have been the Daily Times, but it's not yet here. So let's look at this sit at home. Sit at home. The governor came in and asked our people to please stop because the people that declare sit at home, that's the IPOB, has said that they have called it off. Yes, you still witness sit at home every Monday in this state and the other states in the East. Okay, what do you think is the problem? Mr. Makile, please.
I think the problems are mainly coming from 2 areas. One is the fear of what's going to happen when you come out, because there are threats, and actually in the past there have been some actions have been taken. There have been shootings, and at least I know very well that on one occasion I've met as I was just moving out. Now I encountered some group of boys inside 2 cars with windows and everything open, and they were all shooting out, and then we parked and allowed them. By the time they finished their shooting and drove off, everybody now left. So the thing is the fear of that, and of course there are some sentimental attachments to the issue of IPOB, especially as it has to do with the handling of Nnamdi Kanu's situation. So these are the issues. So like I've said before, it's the issue of Biafra. It's not something that that can be gotten by force now. It has been done in the past. And if those thoroughly trained Igbo generals like Emeko Ojukwu and all that, even before he left, he was advising that it should now be negotiation. Then the second leg of that area is that also we need to understand that the Southeast is noted for one thing: trade and commerce. And by the time we lock everywhere every Monday and then sit down at home, and then those people who are coming from, if you go to Onitsha main market, for instance, you see people who came from even parts of North Africa and other parts of West and East Africa for one transaction or the other. And by the time it now becomes obvious to them that on Mondays, such services will not be available. And then the next thing they will do is to begin to look for alternative partners that will do that. And the moment they anchor and they are sure they can get what they ought to have gotten here, the next thing is, even if you now rescind the sit at home, you have to do a lot of marketing activities to
get them back,
to be able to
which
get
will
them
take
back.
you years again.
It will take years, and that will have some obvious effect on the economy of the Southeast.
Seriously, that's exactly what the governor is talking about.
That's where that's what the Igbos are known for. For the same people that are major importers in the Onitsha main market, if you go to Alaba International or Lagos, go to trade fair, go to other major markets, you discover the same people. And they're all Igbos. And speaking actually based on the available statistics that I knew then, if there are 10 of them, discover that about 7 are from this state.
Anambra State.
I don't want to call them, but
Okay.
so that will not say you are dominated.
Okay, let's move on. Daily Sun is our next paper. Beside the name template of Daily Sun, we still have the same story, sit at home, government strike, Q1, Bambas in Enugu. And there's a rider there, IPOB to enforce ban on cow meat, open grazing, April 27. IPOB to enforce ban on cow meat and open grazing, April 27. Okay, that's the story you got. Beside the name template of the Daily Sun, but the banner headline there says, 2023 presidency, Osibanjo unveils plan to tackle insecurity. Tinubu meets APC governors. With a rider there, VP vows to lift 100 million Nigerians from poverty. Okay, let's look at other stories too before we start talking. Kaduna train attack, negotiate with kidnappers, families of abductors, beg federal government. Kaduna train attack, negotiate with kidnappers, families of abductees, please, beg federal government. And then PDP consensus candidates who asked APC from power, says Saraki, with a rider there, zoning of party presidential tickets non-negotiable, but the judge. I will tackle insecurity, transform economy if elected president. This one is coming from Wike. And then Osinachi, police to prosecute husband for murder. With a rider there, transfer case to SCID homicide department. Down here, still coming from the Daily Sun newspaper, bloody day as bandits kill 78 in 5 Plateau villages. Oh my God. Bloody day as bandits kill 78 in 5 Plateau villages. With a rider, government kill APC chairman in Oshun. Finally from here, 3 feared dead as NURTW factions clash in Lagos. Too much spilling of blood. Killings. Where are we going with this? But before then, let's first of all look at this banner headline, 2023 presidency, Osibanjo unveils plan to tackle insecurity. Tinubu meets APC. What's going on in the West? What's going on in the West?
Well, people would always say that Igbos don't have synergy, that we don't synergize. We always working at parallel lines. But we have now seen that it's natural and political for people to behave that way. Well, we are told that Tinubu was responsible for Osibanjo being the vice president. And right now, Osibanjo had been there for 7 years with Buhari. And he has come out to tell us that he has better things to do for Nigerians if given the chance. Tinubu himself is in his 70s in the 70s, or is he 70 now? And
maybe in the 70s when the first child is 60-something.
I don't know.
He gave birth while he was how many years? 10 years.
So that means that on his own side, his age may not be so kind to him. But one would also say that some of the promises they are making now were the things they said in 2014 and 15. And right now, Osibanjo has been there, and insecurity has become so much. Economy had dwindled to zero, and the other things are not working. And so one is astonished to hear all these promises once more of pulling 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, checking insecurity and all the rest.
Like
but
they did with
just
the,
like you said, the West, they don't know how to resolve their problems. That's part of the issues that we should.
So do we know how to resolve our own problems?
I mean the people of the East.
The people from this side of the world.
I think we are wise men from the East.
Okay, there are wise men from the East.
We are wise men from the East, and I believe that what is going on now, I believe we'll be able to resolve our problems.
So do you see the East bringing out a consensus candidate for presidential
I hope and I pray. And with what they are doing now, there is every hope that Igbos have come to realize that there's nothing they can get by scattering themselves. So, but what I wanted to say is the issue of if it's something one person does, the West should have at least listened to sounds of wisdom that they've taken under Obasanjo, taking Vice President under Osibanjo. Why not realize for your brothers to also come in and partake in the sharing? By at least being accommodating to allow Igbos to now present the issue of this, so that this is a process of healing the wound. And then this issue of dissension and all that, we'll be able to tackle them once and for all.
I think the onus lies on the Igbos to
like people always say that we don't give power, but we're giving them. We gave to Obasanjo on a platter of gold from prison to presidency. It's not giving. The same thing with Buhari and Atiku. Everybody surrendered to people from the north. So this issue of we don't give, I think we better beg greater and more inside analysis about the whole thing. Exactly. So we both have been trying to be lenient and understand, but other tribes do not show such understanding on us. I believe let them solve their problems while I pray that our own people here
we'll solve our own problems. Talking about solving our problems and bringing out consensus candidates from the East. But this idea of this way that the South are bracing up, Amechi is there, Wike is there, and Wike is saying he will tackle insecurity, transform economy if elected president. Are you sure that it's not going to affect the chances of the Igbos producing a consensus candidate, because we need them to be able to beat the West?
Yes, the issue is that the moment the ticket has been given, then it becomes whoever receives the ticket becomes the candidate of the party. And then everybody in the party will now begin to talk about the candidate, not...
as politicians, some of them know that they are just pretending.
They are just pretending.
Yearning for something higher or something. They are just somehow playing spoilers games. So
yes. Okay, is it also a pretense when PDP say that they have jettisoned zoning, that a presidential candidate can come from
and then people are still saying that we don't have to jettison it at this point of the day.
PDP people are saying,
yes.
have a consensus.
Okay, let's see. Let's hope what these other people, the PDP governors are saying will stand, because I heard that they rose from a meeting to say that zoning.
Southern governors.
Yes. Okay, let's look at Leadership newspaper now. Leadership newspaper, a banner headline there seems to be saying the same thing. 2023 presidential election declaration. APC governors caught between Osibanjo and Tinubu. This Western politics is going to show a lot of things that hitherto is hidden. But let's see. But I know that giving it to the West, they might want to support the Jagaban, because he has a very strong structure politically in the West.
I think so. They might have to support him, and then maybe also, the North, they play politics more than we do. They will want to bring somebody who would always be able to cage. Somebody like Osibanjo, from the way he has performed under this man, it's not somebody that you can tell his job. You won't teach him his job if he goes there. So, but because of age and some other things which Tinubu is doing right now and had done in the past, he might not be so free with the North. No. And that's exactly what they want to do.
Okay. All right, Tribune is our next paper. And on top of the NEN template, ASU meets with federal government, says no resumption no resumption until demands are met. This is the story coming from the Tribune. A lot of us were wondering, why is everywhere quiet concerning this ASU strike? Okay, but the banner headline there says, terrorists kill over 80, abduct 70, bomb several houses in Plateau. Very scary story. Very, very scary story of insecurity everywhere you go in Nigeria.
That's part of the question I would have asked. Why all this noise about 2023? Whereas we don't see the quietness that will make people to come out
and vote.
And then why not? Some people said in the past that they will not participate in politics if there's nothing like restructuring. And if there's no restructuring of this country, some of these issues will continue beyond 2023. Yes. Why not we sit down and then see what we can do to resolve some of these issues, especially the issue of insecurity.
Is it possible for us to have a good election in 2023 with the level of insecurity being experienced in this country?
It's doubtful, but in politics, what happens is that the winner takes majority of the. And that is why I now begin to, like Zeke said, the issue of politics is a matter of personal interest. Who gets what, where, when, and how. So that's why I see people fighting over. And again, another option is that if somebody who has the capacity and has it as a template and a point in his activities to be, if he's elected into position, then the issue of restructuring will be done. Because from the look of things, the present regime is not addressing it the way it should be done. Sorry to say that. So at the federal level, structure the country and let's give everybody a sense of belonging.
They will always tell you that even at the state level, the states are not allowing the local government to operate. So why should people be talking about restructuring at the federal level? Well,
and a place like Plateau is a mini Nigeria. That state is made up of about 58
ethnic
groups in different languages. Some might not even understand what the others
So what is going on? Ethnic cleansing? And who is killing who?
So
they say the bandits. Where are the bandits from? Are the bandits from the same state?
The bandits are not
It's a very terrible situation. The bandits are Nigerians.
I'm scared. I'm scared because you might be saying these things are happening out there and you wouldn't know how it will get to where you are. Okay, I think somebody, sorry. But then if you want to join us in this discussion, there's a phone number on the screen that you can call and be part of what we are doing here this morning. Okay, this day is our next paper. Let's move on. We have a lot of papers to look at this morning. The banner headline is also saying the same thing about Western politics this time. Tinubu disowns Osibanjo, says he has no son grown enough to declare for president. Oh God, it's so funny. Tinubu disowns Osibanjo, says he has no son grown enough to declare for president. So of course you know that he is, what's his name? The Professor Osibanjo is claiming to be the political son of...
He's not claiming, he's just...
That's a fact.
So why is Tinubu disowning him now?
No, he said it out of anger.
Yes, because, if you can compete with me and not my son. Yeah. Okay, hello, good morning. Hello. Is anybody there? Okay, I have no son grown enough to declare for president. All right, that's coming from This Day newspaper. But let's look at one story that I saw on top of this. Name template, Lalong attending political meeting as terrorists, mow down 80, abducted 70 in Plateau communities. Lalong attending political meetings. You see what we are saying? We are more concerned about politics, and then we don't care about the security of the people that we are leading.
That should be the primary thing about politics. That's why people came together, surrendered their sovereignty to one or small group, what is known as social contract. But today the contract is no longer being held. People do things just for their selfish interest. And that's why we're also begging our boys that to hit to what Soludo told us on his day of installation. He spoke very well, and people should read that his address. We can't kill ourselves pretending to be fighting for ourselves. I mean, it doesn't make sense. We should have some quietness here, knowing that this, if we declare this place a battleground, that means that we are finished. And doing it the second time means that people around us, they don't have much liking for us. And why should we now hate ourselves?
They will even help you to destroy yourself.
Exactly.
You know, that's what you have to know. People from other regions are being destroyed by outsiders.
Sure.
But in this case, we are destroying ourselves. That's why it's very scary.
No, we can't be fighting.
Room to room. Bikono. That's what we're saying this morning. Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. You are with us. What's your name? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Before you call us, please turn down the volume on your TV so you can see the echo there. And because of that, he couldn't hear me. Turn down the volume on your TV set, or you step away from the position of your TV set, then make a call. We'll have very valid conversation with you. Okay, New Telegraph is our next paper this morning. 3 Southwest governors in dilemma. Yoruba elders may intervene. Of course, Prof said that the West know how to go about sorting themselves out when it comes to politics. This is perhaps what we are seeing now. There are 3 Southwest governors in dilemma, and Yoruba elders may intervene. Okay, and down here we have federal government should query customs, immigration, CAN, IDPF orders. And up here we have CBN, federal government recorded 628.28 billion fiscal deficit in November. Nobody is even talking about the economy now because that we don't have a good security. It's only when you are secured where you are, you start talking about what's going on. And because of that, a lot of things are going wrong in Nigeria. Okay, we move on. Other papers with us here, Nigerian Tribune. Okay. I'm from Nigerian Tribune. We'll have this banner headline: terrorist kill over 80, abduct 70, burn several houses in Plateau State. This same old story. It's not even old story, the same troublesome, worrisome story. Okay, ASU meets with federal government, says no resumption until demands. Okay, let's look at this ASU issue, please. Professor, you are from the, this one is from your backyard. Yes, so tell us. When are you resuming? What are the demands that you say that they must be met before you resume?
Well, the ASU thing is something that everybody should join hands. Should not be left for the lecturers alone. ASU had an agreement with the federal government in 2009. And since 2009, it's been due for renegotiation. It should be at least every 5 years, at most every 5 years. There should be renegotiation to improve the system. The system doesn't mean improving the purse of ASU people, but improving the educational system holistically, bringing in the materials that are required, the facilities, the equipment that are required for academic projects and programs to be carried out. But we find out in Nigeria that we can afford to give loans to Pakistan, to other places, billions of dollars, but to bring us some money to equip these institutions becomes very, very a hectic problem. So what is happening is that the federal government has refused to meet ASU's demand, and then the ASU and the people are now saying that we've been taking all these things lying low. Why not you negotiate with us or renegotiate with us? And then initially they said no renegotiation, but now they're saying we are ready to renegotiate in the interest of Nigerian society and the children. So that is the situation, and I don't think they're demanding for their selfish interest alone. ASU is not saying all the money we go into our purse. If you come to a university, you see a lot of problems that need some attention, but the government is not doing much because maybe their children are not there. Many of them are in the best universities in Nigeria and outside. And that is why they are not pushing enough to see that some of these things are handled. So we would all join hands, the parents, the churches, all the religious organizations should join hands and plead with the federal government to bend down a bit and make sure that some of these things are handled. Some people would always say that us is always asking for so much because they will always break. After some time, they start all over again. In Ghana, they shut school for almost 1 year. For government.
So are you saying you're not going to come back until the conditions are met? Of course, that's what you said here.
That's what AFSU is saying, but
so
I believe
what AFSU is saying?
It's a listening organization.
So if the conditions are met halfway...
Exactly. I believe they will bend a little.
They will bend a little and not to start again. Anyway, all right. Let's continue. Let's look at other papers as we are running short of time now. Daily Trust newspaper, Southwest weighs options on Tinubu Osibanjo, over 100 victims. The same story of Plateau attacks giving mass burial. Okay, this one is Vanguard newspaper, 2023. There may be no election if, and this one is coming from. Khan, Sultan, Ohaneze, Nef, and others. Let's look at the riders and see where that if is coming from. Want federal government to expose those financing terrorism in Nigeria. Ask government to ensure terrorists pay for their crimes. Note banditry can only be addressed through social justice, not military action. Okay, these are the riders or the suggestions that are coming from this organization, the Khan, the Sultan, and then Ohaneze, Nef, and others, saying that 2023, there may be no elections if, okay, of course we have said that here, that with the level of insecurity in Nigeria, that we wonder if we are going to have this 2023 election. 2023, I have no grown son for presidency. Okay, that's still coming from Tinubu. We have seen that one. Guardian newspaper is next. Shut down in Southwest as, okay, no, showdown in Southwest as Osibanjo Tinubu IAPC tickets. It's not going to be an easy thing for them, but just like you said.
Maybe a better candidate will emerge. Yes. But one thing is going to the primary with a lot of Ghana must go back and share money, and people say their consciences, and at the end of the day...
Is it Ghana must go now, or Bullion Van, okay. As it was the time?
Okay, let's you have better information on that.
Yeah, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, you're not there. The Nation newspaper is the last paper this morning. On top of the NEN template, EU envoys seek gas supply from Nigeria. Mass burial for 80 Plateau residents killed by bandits. Okay, and then 68 kidnapped train victims in Niger terrorist camp. Ay, Jesus. Okay, Tinubu rallies governors and mission for APC tickets is the banner headline here. Okay, but let's look at this kidnapped victims before we go as a last step here. The kidnappers are calling for negotiations from federal government, and then they are calling for negotiations from their families and all the rest of them. Why haven't the federal government, let me come to you, Mr. Wakile, why haven't the federal government shown any kind of interest in releasing these people that have been kidnapped from the train attack?
That's part of the issue. That's part of the problem we're having with insecurity. The truth is that yes, it's a major one, because for those people to now go and kidnap people direct from this and killed some and all, and then went into somewhere and sit down, begin to negotiate, and begin to make demands, asking for negotiations. Naming their prices, give us so and so millions of naira, and we do this and do that. And then the federal government is now taking its time to study. It's part of the insecurity. That's why the issue is the federal government is, as it is right now, has not been able to maintain the simplest assignment and most important, which is security of life and property.
And they seem to be very insensitive to lives of the people. See, during this period that this thing happened, that was the same period that Amechi went to River State to declare his interest.
It's a very horrible thing. I wonder why we are this
instead
way.
Of resigning
we don't
from
care about the people, we care about our personal interests.
And even the vice president is declaring...
okay, gentlemen. Why all these people are still in detention, they're busy declaring their declarations.
People are now clamoring that their own persons they are
Okay.
Still in detention.
All right,
should
thank
be
you.
allowed.
Thank you
The
very much,
trauma the
gentlemen.
person
I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning. Mr. Tony Nwakile, our public affairs analyst, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, thank you. And then Professor Obiajulu Obikeze, public affairs analyst too. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ijoma. You do stand by for the rest of our programs this morning in Good Morning Anambra. Thank you.